and welcome to the Raw Review. We are the Dadley Boyz of WhatCulture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts, where we not only review each episode of Monday Night Raw, but also Friday Night SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. WWE Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete. The bloody good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review last night's Raw and all the fallouts from Bash in Berlin.
Yes, there was fallout. This is the second premium live event in a row where it did feel like an actual post-PLE show. There was stuff that actually happened at the event and actually needed following up on. And I still feel like you're kind of stealing a bullet point when you do that. Mm-hmm. It's where we actually have fallout episodes, and yet there's a little bit of me like, well, it wouldn't matter if there was no reference to the show whatsoever, would there?
Guess what we're doing on the NXT preview later? No merci fallout, so...
What's fallout in French? I guess we'll find out on that podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah. This show had something on it that made me just bleed. This show had something on it that I was prepared to write off or just watch like this. Total glazed eyes. I'm pretty done with this. And then, oh my God, I've been resuscitated. I have been resuscitated. So, yeah, some good stuff. And it's really red hot. And everything else looks really small and golden in comparison still.
What did you make to Bash in Berlin?
Well, I only caught up with 3 of the matches. So far, I'll go back to watch Cody and Kevin Owens because I've heard good things. My take is I'm a miserable bastard. I tweeted this, and you know, maybe it's pedantic, maybe it isn't. Like, I don't think Gunther Randy was the correct main event, the correct call. It went a long time. I think the dynamic was a bit weird. Gunther can't even play situational babyface, you know. Well, he probably could at some point if he completely retooled his character, but I've only ever known him, and he's only ever been prominent as this invincible heel. I just think the dynamic of the Orton match was a bit off. It was a bit long, and speaking more broadly, you can only have a certain match in front of these international PLE crowds, and it's weird. Do you configure everything to this? Or do you just accept that? Well, the noise is there's a bit of dissonance between the atmosphere and the tone of the match. And I couldn't get past that with Gunther Orton, like the Mexican waves during like the control segments. It's just like, we're through the looking glass here of...
Orton was putting in 5-minute waits to try and calm them down. You could tell. He was trying to slow Gunther down. But the 5 minutes were just... making the match drag.
Yeah.
It was like, said this yesterday, that it was like the extended length felt as much an attempt of Orton to try and conduct that crowd.
Yeah, you
couldn't really do it.
You can't do earnest emotion in front of a crowd like that. There were moments when he was getting powerbombed, Orton. Like, I know his back is shoot knackered, but I do also know that for all of his faults as a wrestler, and I think he's got loads, he's very, very good at selling and the when to do things. Like, I don't know just how mangled his back is, or whether he was just trying to convince me that it's still completely mangled, but like the anguish on his face when he was taking those bumps, and then they were just doing like daft chants. It was like, I hate to do this usually, and I actually preemptively told the people off for comparing the Danielson and CM Punk strap matches over the last 2 years. But my God, after being in the Wembley main event, where there was just that perfect sync between performer and audience and how that was conducted, to go to this weird sort of dissonance between party atmosphere and really trying to sell, I was just like, I made us a little bit mournful of what has been lost in wrestling over the last however many years. I will say, in stark contrast to that, Terror Twins versus Judgment Day.
Oh my God.
That's the kind of match you need in these shows. Unbelievable.
Perfect on it for
that. It was perfect for what it was. They absolutely nailed every single twist, save, like, story beat.
Not easy as well. There was a lot to it, wasn't there? Yeah.
Like, an incredible... Again, it was just the stark contrast to the main event, and that audience and that match were just absolutely perfect together. And I think maybe my viewing experience was informed by My eldest was like, it was my turn to take him to bed. So it's more just a case of just chill out, wind down, take yourself upstairs. It's more of a procedure for the younger one. So I watched it with my eldest, and he was bang into it. Like really, really into it. So I get to see who this is meant to be for. Children.
Yes.
And you get to live vicariously through them. Drew Punk, I got sparks of what I wanted from it. I saw those big stupid lights, and I'm like, I can't. But that segues neatly to what I'm unbelievably excited by that was built on this week's Raw, but I'll tease that for when we get there.
Okay, well, let's get into this week's Raw. It opened up with Wade Barrett introducing a new commentator, Joe Tessitore. When you need play-by-play, but Michael Cole is away, that's Tessitore. Well, who knows what's in store on Monday Night Raw with Tessitore?
It's just Tessitore.
This is Tessitore. Should we talk about
No point
Tessitore?
to delete the rest of that song, so.
People are interested in Tessitore. Tessitore's trending.
What about
My
Tessitore?
take on Tessitore.
What's
his first name?
Joe.
My take on Joe. Because that was almost 3 T's there. We do know there are rules about alliteration.
Tessitore's top takes.
There are rules about alliteration. It's the work of like me and Hamfler had the exact same take, but like independently of one another, where it was so well drilled, and that's a compliment compared to some of the other disasters we've had over the years. It was almost unnerving how well drilled he was. It was like, we know you're desperate to impress, as he would be, but it felt like, does this guy think he is?
Well, it must be pretty cool to like not have a Vince McMahon saying that exact sentence in your ear.
Yeah.
I've come really well prepared. What do you think? Oh, well, what the hell do I do? What do you want, old man? Like,
He's got that. It was very refreshing not to be screamed at, and I think that really enhanced my viewing experience. You could argue almost too subdued to the point of it, like inadvertent deadpan. That's Drew McIntyre wearing a hoodie.
Yeah.
Inadvertent deadpan.
I am reporting what is in front of me.
Yeah.
Isn't that my job?
Yeah.
And it is, but yeah.
You'll strike that balance eventually. Like an incredibly promising week 1. Inadvertent deadpan aside, the matter-of-fact delivery, the really intense, I don't really believe you yet preparation. I think it was a very promising start. And that's, for me, this could be incredibly important because, my God, I've just learned how to drown them out. I would like to have my experience of WWE elevated wherever I can get it. Commentary hasn't done that for me for the longest time. I hate Pat McAfee. I'm still Michael Cole and John Cena. Everyone's coming around. Well, I'm not, Doug. But no, guy made a really good start. And I'll tell you what, he's got that... I always come across Dutch when I do this, but he's got that soft sh on the S that the sportscasters have in the United States.
Hell of a jackknife from Diesel.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like that Schiavone S, that sportscaster S, that sometimes comes out Dutch when I'm trying to do it. There's that parody, like Golden Voice sportscaster that does the rounds on like TikTok and YouTube. Not even f***ing close.
Yes. The South Park one. Thanks, Tom.
It's got that, but I like it.
Yeah.
It pleases me on a phonoaesthetic level.
Instant like authority to that tone of voice, which is always helpful when you're covering
That
wrestling.
blandly generic but very pleasing sportscaster voice.
We liked friggin' what was it? Jimmy Smith. Like, think of the garbage he was covering.
Yeah.
Jimmy Smith
was
and
great.
he had that credible sportscaster voice. And look at what he had to comment on in 2021 Raw. And he sort of gave it gravitas. And if you weren't watching, if you were just listening, this might be all right. And then you actually watched. What the hell is even that? However, what I will say about this guy, like the comparisons from like dyed-in-the-wool wrestling fans, I saw Andrew Pollard make this point, and I've seen it elsewhere as well. Jesse Ventura and Mean Gene Oakland with the names being thrown around. I mean, that
Ventura's got that.
he does.
Yeah, he does.
Like that
Schiavone.
That's a compliment.
You get Karrion Kross on there with him.
Oh, so you can kill a guy outside the ring, Schiavone? Like, that's a compliment regardless of anything else, because when people use those names, they're immediately like falling back on all-time greats, aren't they? And that seems to be the general consensus on night one. And yeah, it was almost sweet. It was charming that it was like, well, of course, you remember that thing on the July 14th Raw. And this is me saying this. It's like, which Raw was that? Let me just do it. Like, I don't need that. I'll take 3 weeks ago. Last month we saw. I don't know. But I understand why he kind of turned up with his notes and he wanted to be prepared. That will settle, I think. That will settle. And as well,
overcompensating a little bit.
Yeah. And again, I can't remember where I saw this, but the old style of production, the Vince McMahon, the Kevin Dunn idea of just the commentators hating each other and hating you. That was like, Michael Cole has said something and now JBL's going to tear it in for 10 minutes. And it doesn't matter what's happening in front of you. I'm sad, he's sad, everybody's sad. Like, that is clearly an opposite now. Like, Wade Barrett was there not to needle him, not to have a go at him. I tell you who was even guilty of this once, and it was so awkward. Remember Nigel McGuinness's Ring of Honor debut the other year? He came in so old WWE brained that, like, you've got, like, Ian Riccaboni, like, just this affable guy. Like, I think he was talking about his wife, and Nigel McGuinness was like, hey, loser, married. Not me, I'm a massive pervert. And it was like, it was so off-putting.
He did in Collision early. He had a bit of growing pains, did Nigel on Collision.
And it's like, it's
Collision, or Collision as it's called.
Collision. It's obviously not a combative space anymore. Wade Barrett wasn't there to, like he dares, like, a date or a name is wrong. He's like, you stupid idiot, how long have you even been here? That would have been the old, that would have been... No respect of business to you, sunshine. Get on my shoulders, I'm going to wasteland you. Not anymore. He's obviously there to help. Anyway, enough of that Joe idiot.
Tough act to follow as well from Sunday night. Wendy Chu seems possessed. You see that from Noel Milsey? Big Joseph, she's possessed.
Oh, teachable moment.
And again, like, we talk about voices fitting products. I don't want that man to get called up over it. I hope he's paid a full-time wage being NXT.
He was doing his really, like, excited intros in Noel Milsey. Booker T was like, shut up, Vic, I want to get excited now.
It's a good show.
Good show. Review available now? Where do you get your podcast from? Anyway, Rhea Ripley comes out to start this show after we get a recap of Bash in Berlin. Welcomes us to Monday Night Mammy.
God. Jesus Christ.
Talks about getting a win as part of the Raw Twins against Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. Says they're not done destroying the Judgment Day. She pinned the Women's World Champion. It's time to get back the one thing she never actually lost. She's interrupted by Dominic Mysterio, who obviously gets booed out of the building. He's got a great shiner as well. Ripley says, no one wants to hear you speak. Get your little girlfriend before I give you another black eye. Eventually, we find out from Dom that Liv is still recovering from what Rhea did to her. Rhea and Damian Priest took advantage of him and Liv. They were jet-lagged. They didn't get any sleep for multiple reasons. Sige, just a quick bit of clarification there. I know I've been jet-lagged and struggled with sleep, but it seems like that wasn't the only reason, and he didn't really, check my notes, didn't go into any more details why they wouldn't be getting any sleep.
So he said that they were jet-lagged, so they didn't get much sleep for multiple reasons. So one reason is, of course, the jet lag, which like really, really does impact your sleep and just sets you into like a deep slumber. The other one is full sex, perhaps even more than once.
Yeah, of course.
More than once.
That makes a lot of sense.
I thought because maybe the headaches off the black eye. But
Yeah.
no,
Full sex.
It's probably full sex, yeah.
Full sex. Full sex.
In all three positions.
Well, yeah. All three of them.
He says, Liv's not afraid of you. She's beaten you before, she'll do it again. And after I win the Intercontinental title, both me and my girl are going to have gold. I thought, fair way off the IC title, Dom, but I like your ambition. Rhea puts things in a way Dom will understand. Kalate stupido. I can't do the voice.
Try every week. So.
Yeah. If Liv doesn't want to come out here, then Rhea wants Dom to relay a message. She will face her anytime, any place. And Dom repeats that. But it's all a ruse, so Liv can try and attack Rhea, but she's got eyes in the back of her head. She knocks her down, turns around to attack
Good
Dom.
sell from Liv Morgan, I thought.
Turns around to attack Dom, and I thought, please, we might get the singles match here. But obviously, she distracts herself with Dom. Liv attacks from behind. And somehow, I don't know if this was deliberate or not, it was awesome regardless. Yeah. Rhea gets knocked out the ropes, but gets her leg wrapped in the bottom and middle rope. So she's sort of hanging upside down. Liv Morgan, like I say, if this wasn't planned, just immediately kicks the leg out of her leg, kisses her on the cheek, and Damian Priest has to run down and get her leg out of the ropes, and she's selling, obviously.
This was magic, including the happiest of accidents, which is what you get when you're hot. Pro wrestling will be the cruelest thing to you when things are not going well, and deliver the happiest of accidents when things are as hot as they are.
Around it, they've scheduled it for later, so maybe they just thought I don't know. It looked too perfect. It looked too good.
She's like Rhea Ripley's dominance needed something as a counter for it to not feel like it. WWE were trying with the tag match, I thought. But you were always going to have this like China Ivory WrestleMania 17 inevitability about it when it was just one-on-one. If you take all the interference away, that was how it was going to feel. Like Liv Morgan just does not stand a chance against an angry and vengeful Rhea Ripley. And now you've created that distraction for Rhea Ripley. And she sold it brilliantly later on, by the way. Like the selling of the knee now it's really on the nose. It's very WWE, but like immediately you can receive, well, there's the match. And that's like every chop block is going to like hit 10 times as hard as it would have done before. Liv Morgan has a way to chop it down to her size and then work a body part. And this like story is, I wouldn't say it's made a working champion out of Liv Morgan. She doesn't wrestle all that much, but Saturday, and to a lesser extent SummerSlam, was a suggestion that if nothing else, the story is so hot, she's as believable as she's ever felt in the ring.
Yeah.
Like when the bell actually rings, Liv Morgan has just never really projected to me, and I think plenty others, and yet this story is so powerful and so over that you buy her character, so you buy the decision she's making. The matches have identity, which is kind of my biggest criticism of a lot of wrestling. Like this match, this rematch will have identity in that Liv Morgan will just target the leg. It will just be every single time a shortcut, and that's all she can do, and it's all she can hope to do against Rhea Ripley. This was a terrific setup for it, because when Rhea and Dominic are out there, it's magic. I read Dominic's comments, and I think they were well measured about WWE not really liking to book these as straight up singles matches, and you kind of have to come up with the mixed tags and the little like cheat codes of ways to have these physically interact. I don't know if you just go all out and try and get this to WrestleMania as a straight up singles, because I think it's going to be hot as balls in Vegas if you can get these two. And I used the example yesterday. In 2022, it was Ray and Dom. In 2023, it was Jimmy and Jay, even though we knew the match was going to stink. It was this time of year when it was becoming clear what an obvious singles match was going to be. This feels like the obvious singles match.
I don't think it'll do it.
I don't think they will, but I really wish they would, because the chemistry out there is unbelievable.
Yeah. So we go backstage. There's American Made. Chad Gable firing him up. He's sick of the Wyatts. He tells the Creeds that they are the best athlete. I know, they're the best athletes to show up in WWE in 10 years. He debuted about 10 years ago. He says, "You're American Made, go out and show them." And he slaps the taste out of Julius Creed's mouth. He then puts a gum shield in. It looked awesome, that. And then they do the follow-through gorilla.
This is what you wanted when you first were teased that these guys are going to interact. This energy. Yeah. This is it. This is the dynamic. Let's just not, let's use them. Let's go with it. Okay, let's go.
It's like needle thread and stuff, this, because if they come out of the Wyatt, they're there to lose presumably again to the Wyatts next week, having already done a fantastic job of kind of putting them over as their first proper foot. If they come out of that while WWE is telling you the victory that you see later on, or this kind of segment is the real quiz, that's quite impressive, because they have been required as like super workers to give the Wyatts the best possible start. So they're losing what is realistically their introductory program. And yet,
you could still buy the Creeds challenging, let's say, Sammy and Jay when they're tag champs later. Yeah.
Impressive work.
We see the trainers checking on Rhea. She's just screaming at them. Damien says, you need to let him help you, basically. He's going to go and get a match. She needs to get right, though. Let this medical team help you out. And, off he heads, and she lets them check out her leg. And then we get the 6-person match, American Made versus what's left of Alpha Academy.
Remnants. The remnants.
I did like Otis using Akira Tozawa as a weapon against the Creeds, and then Akira being a bit dizzy. Otis slaps him on the ass and looks to throw him out of the ring, and he says, "No," and points to Maxine Dupri, and she does a crossbody off the top to take us to a break. When we come back, Creeds are in charge, of course. Brutus hits a shell shock on Tozawa, springboard moonsault for 2. Tozawa manages to get over and bring Otis in, though. He cleans house. He hits the caterpillar. He just sort of throws himself at Brutus at one point. Julius breaks up that cover. Tozawa gets Julius with a German suplex, hits Brutus with a suicide dive. When he goes to hit a dive on Julius, he grabs him and hits an overhead suplex. Otis knocks Julius off the apron. Brutus hits a Brutus bomb. Love those. And then in come Maxine Dupree and Ivy Nile. I will say earlier on, Ivy Nile selling for Maxine made her look incredible. Dupree hit Nile with a Northern Lights suplex. Maxine does her sort of backwards caterpillar, but Chad Gable jumps on the apron to yell at her. He gets knocked off, but the distraction allows Nile to grab her in that awesome dragon sleeper, the diamond chain lock, as it's called, for the submission victory.
So spot on. Like, this was just so spot on how to book pro wrestling. You did this turn with and I said this at the time, my only concern, I didn't take quite as big an issue of the reducing of Chad Gable's status, but I was critical of the idea that Otis was going to be made a star again when he wasn't. The ceiling for Otis is always these lovely moments rather than a sustained push off the back of it. But they continue to milk the moments and it sort of continues to work. This Maxine Dupree flourish here remind me of the first time we saw that from her, and it was when Chad Gable was like training her in kayfabe, but you were seeing like they were just reducing her. She'd basically go out there and it was like, you got a space flying tiger drop in you, maybe an ocean cyclone suplex, something like that. And it was like, well, she shouldn't, but like, oh my God, she's just done that. It was simplified here, but it was no less effective. And what they gained from the Otis Chad split was evident here, even if it was just ultimately in sacrifice of, as I say, giving American Made that win, which lets them say, this is the real quiz, even though we know they're probably losing to the Wyatts again. It is difficult stuff to have these things overlap and keep everybody over. And this match to me was evidence that they've done it. And it was pretty well worked throughout, but it was more to me about how the fans were just there for everything. Yeah. They haven't abandoned Alpha Academy as an act, even though we as viewers are being told to move on. They haven't received American Made as losers, even though they have lost to the Wyatts. I just think this was a good example of like very effective use of all the different pieces on the board.
Yeah, when it's hot, and this promotion continues to be as hot as balls. I'm a harsh marker because I expect the very best from Julius Creed. I might have mentioned this, Will, but I actually think it might be the future face of WWE. The bumping and feeding was a little bit glaring at points, but I mean, they'll get used to that. Sort of the in-house style. But other than that, no. Kinetic, loud, fun, like almost over in spite of itself. If you chronicled the arc of like where Otis was a couple of months ago to where he is now, how the Creeds sort of hardly exploded into life. It's hot as balls, this. It's absolutely hot as balls. It's almost surreal listening, let alone listening to these undercard Raw matches now. That just makes us feel old. We're living in a different time. An old man struggling.
Chad Gable gets on the mic afterwards, saying he should have won the classic one-on-one match he had against Uncle Howdy last week, but those freaks got involved to help him get the win. He knew what it'd take to finish them, so he challenged them to an 8-person street fight next week. American Made's not just going to get rid of the Wyatts for the fans, but also out all the locker room, but for America.
And God bless the United States.
And his challenge is answered by Uncle Howdy, who says 375 days, his sanity crumbled, his path is in the void now, the silence is deafening, but you can still hear it. His life is no longer his. If this is a path that they've chosen, who is he to prevent their undoing? They gambled their very being, and they will collect the debt. And then the rest of the gang come out and pose on the...
Bit brave-pilled, all of that. But I didn't consider any of this. I just thought it was a funny Chad Gable line. He's got this way where even when he's being vicious and nasty and vindictive, kind of pops you. I do it for America, chicks in America. Yeah. I thought that's just what he's just been very Chad Gable about it. And then in the reveal of who the baby faces might pick to face Pure Fusion Collective, where did they say next week's Raw is next week? It's in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. So they're going to turn up the Americans to a bazillion, and basically the Wyatts of all people are going to be like honorary Canadians. That's quite smart.
The Wyatt Foundation.
Yeah, that's it. The 1x1 entrance, like Canadian Stampede, but it ends with Uncle Howdy. Massive pop. Like that. The America thing is going to be dialed all the way up, isn't it, to be heels?
Yeah, this is a bit weird. This because like Howdy comes out, pop. Kind of a minute where he loses people and there's this silence when he's talking his bollocks. And then the rest of the freaks come out and then it's a pop.
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like they like watching this act enter the building. The chat. I was like, he's losing them. And then more freaks come out. Bob, what the is this guy talking about? Oh, it's okay, there's more freaks. Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. Have you changed the channel to Sky-Fi?
Shiffy.
Your boobs on Skyfy.
Well, we know that Americans can't change channels.
This is true.
So, no is the answer to your bit. It's your rhetorical bit.
All going to be on Netflix for us in the...
What's that? Up? Down. I'm upside down. Jeez, I don't know what's going on.
Let me change the channel on the old Upski here. Why is it getting louder?
What's wrong with the upper?
The upper. Press the off for quick. It's gone away for today. Hope nobody presses the honor.
Dog stuck on the honor.
Why do they lose half the viewers when they go on a different channel? Why?
Sorry.
I know I'm taking the piss. I'm sorry.
Sorry, majority of our audience. Sorry, guys.
What?
It is weird, though.
Explain it to us. I really want this explained. It's on the same. It's on a channel with a similar scope of viewers.
Why do us, Mr. Bean looking asses, know about when something's on like CW instead of USA or whatever? We're told relentlessly. To us, it would just be like, oh, it's gone from Sky Sports 2 to Sky Sports 3.
Okay, click.
Okay.
You pass the upper.
You can read it on it's on a guide now. It says it. It's like, which one's it? Oh, no, I don't know. It's that one. All right, yeah. Fine. WWE. It's probably on the one that says WWE Raw.
Do you think if they had it in America, EastEnders would just die? Because, sometimes they're like, oh, this tennis match at Wimbledon's over and we're moving EastEnders to BBC 2. They'd be like, well, guess EastEnders never concluded.
Guess everything in Walford's been resolved.
Where the hell's that Phil Mitchell at? Queen Vic? Fought a war for that kind of thing. Respectfully. Oh, no respect, no rules. I'll throw some tea in a goddamn harbor. That's what I'm going to do.
Which is Mr. Bean looking at Ken Barlow.
Betty's hot pot. Got a hot pocket. That's what I got.
You seen this Dunkin' pumpkin drink? Oh my god!
Oh yeah, he's been talking about this today.
It's their take on the pumpkin spice latte, and it's this like it's this iced pumpkin coffee thing.
It sounds just.
Let me see if I can find the stats.
The numbers on this thing, oh my god, right? So it's massive. Obviously, it's about the size of this mic stand, pretty much.
This is one of the donuts picture.
It's got the cream. Yeah, you see the infographic with the donut. It's got cream on top. It's got the same amount of sugar as 14 glazed donuts. It's 930 calories in a cup.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I want one. I made a homemade grimace shake yesterday.
I've seen
they have
these,
just launched, but they're all out of stock.
They're all out. So that was my big plan for the last day of the summer holidays. Last day your son had.
Yeah.
I was like, let's take the Mackies, get my grimace shake. Sold out.
What flavour are they?
Well, it's kind of blueberry.
Okay.
So it was like the colour first.
Yeah.
And the gimmick. Yeah. Would have preferred the real thing, McDonald's. He really let me down there.
So you made one?
I just made one. Just what happened.
What was the look? Did you capture the purple in there?
Basically, I was like, it's not as vibrant, but they saw like kind of a purple and just went crazy. But I had like dyes in reserve. Nice. I didn't need to rely on the dyes.
I didn't experience at McDonald's over the weekend, didn't you?
I've already. Yeah. Said she's going to hate this.
I know.
You get a grimace shake.
That's why I brought it up. No, there was grimace shakes were out of stock. It was Josh, my youngest's birthday, so he got me a treat. It's what he wanted for his treat dinner, and I have not done this. And you will go, yes, you have, Hamflet. Yes, you have, Hamflet. I have not done this. You know the McDonald's birthday celebrations.
Yeah.
All the old characters. That's one of the reasons why the grimace shake is back. Saw the Hamburglar. And he goes, I don't like that, Dad. Why not? Like, he hasn't stole your burger. It's absolutely fine. Why don't you? He's like, look at it. It's the Hamburglar. It's new to him, obviously. And he just points. He's like, they're a cross, but they're still black and white. I was like, that's my boy. I haven't created that, but I will take it. He's got more hatred in his heart for
Newcastle, if people are unaware.
More hatred in his heart for it than I do. I would like to think, quite a diplomatic. Andy Murray is looking for trouble, and he's not going to find it. We had a very diplomatic derby. For the first time in our working relationship, they kicked our asses. And we've won 4 games, and Murray is itching for us to get promoted, simply to try and make. He's not going to win. We are too long in the tooth at this point, I think, to not get through the week. You see these people that have just rinsed their mates, assuming it's like a WWE pay-per-view. Well, there's no consequences to my actions here. One team will win. It's just not worth it.
Hate derbies, man.
Ain't worth the drive.
Hate derbies.
Back on Monday Night Raw, it was Zelina Vega versus Shayna Baszler. There was a lovely moment where Zelina spotted a sign for her father in the crowd, got a bit emotional before the match. But yeah, Baszler comes out with the rest of Pure Fusion Collective.
It's a bad name, isn't it?
Especially when you've got
the Ministry of Starkness
right there. Yeah, because Sonya and Zoe are part of it. Baszler targets Zelina Vega's arm. 619 to her legs as she's sort of climbing the turnbuckle, allows Vega to come back into it as she goes to a break, knocks Baszler outside. Afterwards, Vega hits a moonsault for 2, knocks Stark off the apron with a low 619, dives to take out Sonya Deville, but obviously has taken too much time getting rid of Pure Fusion Collective. And she comes back in. Shayna Baszler just knees her in the head and stacks her up for the 1, 2, 3.
Where did this Raw emanate?
It was the LeVar Ball Centre.
I'm laughing because I know what's coming. We arrived at this independently at Wembley, and it was such a lovely moment of, we're f***ing.
I'm just thinking, like, so where was it?
At LeVar Ball Centre, exactly where.
Yeah, but
Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, Denver, sorry.
See, that to me, it's more like the Rockies, isn't it? Like a mountainous, maybe streams, but I wouldn't class it as like on a coast or by a river.
No.
If it was by the river, there's a big sort of rodent population in the river, and one of those rodents just ventures into the building, and maybe it gets sort of like near sort of where the concessions are, and like maybe it gets behind where the t-shirts are sold. I don't know what they're made out of these days. I don't really buy wrestling t-shirts anymore. They used to be polyester back in my day.
Oh, they still are, brother.
But if they've changed materials, that rodent, maybe you probably hear the red piss on can. Jesus, it's more stark than ever.
Really bad. None of these guys. It's
just the most apathetic booking imaginable.
It's the difference just gets bigger and bigger and bigger between how much identity virtually every character. This Raw's a good example actually, because there was one that was missing in the last month. We've all fallen in love with because he's actually been given a bit of creative investment, and they've kind of made good on this show later on. But that's the example of what they're doing to the undercard in the men's division. Like, you cannot get knout if you're in this women's mid card. You cannot get a thing. It's criminal, really. They are characters that go out there and have their interchangeable 50-50 booked wrestling matches. And because it's not even for the top titles, it's for belts that don't matter. We get more of this later on. It's a piss take. It's when everything, we've just used the example of the Judgment Day, but there's a million others. When everything is hot, do everything. And
not everything's hot.
And they cannot be asked to book effectively.
It's just the most indistinguishable. Every single match is the same sort of rhythm and pace and duration. Like, using different strategies, AEW and WWE continue to be in a race to the bottom. Like, there is more women's wrestling on an episode of Raw, but it's so, unless Rhea Ripley and Liv are involved, it is so outrageously sort of half-arsed. AEW does less women's wrestling, but a lot of care usually and attention goes into the various arcs of the characters. Like, it does feel like a passion project with something like Toni Storm. This is just nothing. I've struggled to find anything. It's bad when you can only make these broad, repetitive statements in connection with the fiction and the action, because there's so little to actually say and to grab onto and analyze and discuss.
They're not characters. They're just talking props. The Pure Fusion Collective has to be, they have to be doing something out there. Remember when Shayna Baszler first debuted in NXT and she did the thing with Dakota Kai's arm, and instantly, oh my God, she's just turned up and broken somebody's arm. Yeah. So this is why they're the MMA horsewomen as opposed to the wrestling ones. Yeah. That's never been established. Pure Fusion Collective come out and they do some moves. Yeah. Like, it's not even like, we were critical of obviously the Tiger Driver 91 stuff because Will Ospreay's got just as many nasty things that can do damage. They don't even have the Tiger Driver 91 bit of that story. If they had that one move and the security or the refs were trying to come in and be like, don't do that again because we saw you.
They're meant to be like the unfussy killers.
Yeah, like, and you kind of, that extends out to all of these wrestlers. There's indistinct across the board. There's no catchphrases even. There's no, like, to use, I was thinking of Jey Uso there or LA Knight, the stuff that gets them over that hump, and then from there you build. How do you build from a Zelina Vega? And yeah, they're going to get a hometown pop for your favourite next week. But like, again, That's for what? For like an indistinct 6-woman tag victory on a Raw, and then it's back on the road again the following week. You're not learning anything about these characters.
No, I think Shayna Baszler had a better start as a single star on the main roster.
I don't want to talk about it. The Triple Team Vega.
It doesn't even mean Elimination Chamber. It was a vampire, of course.
Lyra Valkyria. I was on my honeymoon. I came back. What's going on?
She's a vampire now. What?
Because I think I came back and it was like this weird, because obviously that time was just all over the place leading to WrestleMania. Yeah, someone's coming out in a tank on NXT. They're doing what now?
Yeah.
Shotzi had just introduced it.
What's his tank?
And she's just like a tank now. Lyra Valkyria comes out to make the save, but obviously Numbers Game catches up to her. Sonya grabs the mic. Says, shut up and show some respect. This is a reminder of how each and every one of you are so pathetic.
I groaned
Thought you
inwardly.
immediately.
Went from numb glazed eyes to...
There isn't a man in the audience that can take them home or a woman in the locker room that can take them at all. Anyone can step up and shoot their shot.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, and that catchphrase will get over, and the shoot your shot T-shirts will be everywhere in the crowd. But it just
Grit your teeth.
maybe that's where they're wrong. They need to do an immediate promo after this.
Yeah.
That's how you really get it over.
Shoot your... it's Scottish. I was trying to do the opinion. Shoot your shot.
Do it as a testator.
Shoot your shot.
Shoot
your shot right in the bread basket.
I like that.
The shoulder plexus.
Ripley's in a knee brace. That's where they can go next. Netherlands.
Yes.
We're talking about which country?
Yes.
I don't mean to do it. Just like, I can't do the Shivani voice.
Ripley's in a knee brace. Says, don't worry to Damien, though. It's just a precaution.
Coming down from the rafters, it's Sting, I think. That's my impression of Tony Schiavone.
As Steve McLaren.
Yeah.
Big matches. It is arsenized. So, Damien Priest has spoken to Postman Pearce, but Finn Balor will only face him in a tag match, and he says, I haven't got any other friends, so we can't have it. And Ripley says, I've got someone in mind. And then Priest realizes what she's referring to. And we all get very excited. The audience sort of give it away.
Don't speak to me. Don't speak about me. Put words in my mouth. I'm very capable of talking.
Vega's backstage with Lyra. It's
Big moment for you, this.
Time to fight back. Vega's going to take her chances week after week until they put them down. Lyra says, we're in Calgary next week. I've got an idea. And I thought,
No!
really? Really?
Honestly thought of you, but you left.
You got 5 more years?
Is that the new contract?
I don't know. Just signed one. So.
Yeah, probably.
Shooters, they better watch out. She's got a sharpshooter that she can't put on every time. She'll get a pop, I suppose. Everyone gets a pop. Moving on. CM Punk, yay! He comes out and says, I can't wait to get out of here, basically. He said, I can't wait to get home to my beautiful wife and my lovely dog. And I want to stop off in Denver to say hello and celebrate with the fans. He said the strap match was hell, one of the toughest matches he's had. But he meant what he said. It's good to be alive in Denver. It's good to be on the other side of a personal issue. Now it's time to get down to business. That's what he was, a business man. He said it before. He wasn't here to make friends. He's there to make money. He'll take it in cash, direct deposit, or like some bloke in 1996, he'll take it in gold. Talks about Gunther putting down Randy Orton, one of the best to ever do it, and putting him through hell.
Hell?
Nothing could replace the chip. Nothing could replace the chip on Punk's shoulder other than the world title. He put Drew to sleep, and now it's time for him to wake up as champion. And he congratulated Gunther and told him to enjoy it because we're going to enjoy taking it off you. The goal is gold. The target is Gunther. Get used to hearing Cult of Personality. He hit his music, and he celebrates, and he high-fives the fans. Poses on the announce desk, and then he gets attacked by a mystery man who I couldn't work out who it was.
It's Drew McIntyre in a hoodie.
He slams his head against...
My new name's 7, by the way. It's the exact same pitch. That's true. It's Drew McIntyre in a hoodie.
Your name's Steven.
I love how he has to learn to be an idiot. That's like the job description. Are you not stupid enough? What?
Too broad. You got to ask who it is. Well, it was clearly Drew McIntyre and Cody, but they don't know.
They don't know that. Well, they do. But yeah, but just do the pretense anyway. It's fine. Come on, you'll get it. It's all stupid. Wrestling's stupid. Episodic US wrestling TV is stupid. You'll learn. It's fine.
So he slams Punk's head against the table. Wade Barrett, leave it, Drew. He's not worth it. Tries to get in between him, and McIntyre just flies by him, nails Punk with a Claymore kick that knocks off one of his shoes.
Such a good Claymore as well. I don't probably give him enough credit for that. When he hits one and you really feel it, it's one of them moves that comes through the screen. Yeah. Drilled him with it here.
He sends him in the ring, hits him with another one, grabs him by the arm, just kicks him in the head. Officials come in, trying to stop him. And he removes the bracelet from Punk's wrist and rips it apart. He destroys the bracelet. Joe Tessitore says he's crossed the line we've yet to see.
He did say that. It sounded really credible, and it was really putting over what was in front of him.
And he's just trivialised it.
Trivialised all of it.
But then he shoves the beads down Punk's throat, and he hits another Claymore. And they finally get McIntyre out of the ring. They call for a stretcher. We go to a break. When they come back, they're wheeling Punk to the ambulance, take him to the hospital. He's got a neck brace on. He's bleeding from the mouth. McIntyre's like, I've not finished, actually. Beats him up some more until Punk gets carried away by the officials, and Pierce yells, talk to me!
Can I go first here?
Yeah.
Because I'm actually feel alive. So I feel like I want to feel alive, but I'm very, very tired as well. I got up too bloody early this morning. I couldn't get back over any, but I am alive watching this. So I'm trying to go through the whole goddamn thing chronologically, but as at the end of Bash in Berlin, I'm like, right, I know what's coming, but I'm done. I'm done with this. They had a better match than they did at SummerSlam. It's not going to trouble any match of the air charts. I still maintain that CM Punk's probably better used as a heel. Well done. You've gone from program ruining potential disaster at SummerSlam to it's back on the tracks. Let's just do your little rubber match and move on. This is very much, I know we're going to get a third. And this program, I would describe at this point, has gone from incredible to promising to it's peaked to pretty humiliating to just stick the landing. And it's been all over the place, I would say, as a program. And I was very much ready for it to end because you knew what was going to happen here. CM Punk comes out. Well, I've just beaten Drew McIntyre. It's 1-1 and it's going to be a rubber match. It's all done, guys. I've got my eyes on the gold. Nothing. Everyone's going to listen to my song. Everything's going to be great. I'm going to win the title. Nothing could possibly go wrong. And obviously, it was basically the big graphic of Drew McIntyre's coming. We're summoning him. Here's where it's going to go. I was so expecting to just go, right, okay, Drew's going to come out. He's going to kick his ass. They're going to set up the match at Bad Blood, Hell in a Cell. Yep, cool. The physical acting in this thing from both performers here was absolutely sensational. You've seen, if you were I'm 39 this month.
We're all in our 30s.
We're all in our 30s.
Fact.
If you're a millennial age wrestling fan, basically, if you've been watching wrestling for 2 months, you've seen this 8 times. If you're watching it for like 30 years, do the math. Do the trig and the calc while you're at it. I have seen a beatdown 1 million times. This was amazing. This was so good. Like, CM Punk looked dead, but it wasn't that awful seeing a dead cell. He found that amazing sweet spot between. He looks like he's in trouble. He doesn't look like he's lying down motionless. He looks done. He looks like he is in trouble. Drew McIntyre, who's always had that, he doesn't have that Kingston Punk thing, that Danielson thing of, he always feels like to be honest, it's not like a criticism at him, half of them do. He's playing a role. He's playing a role. He's better at it than most, but he's playing a role. He looked like he was wanting to kill CM Punk. He looked like he was dangerous. He looked like he'd gone to that place, ... and I believed him.
Yeah.
That is incredibly difficult to execute. I thought that the physical performance between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk here was nothing short of utterly sensational. and I actually want to watch the rubber match that 10 minutes before this segment I thought was just an obligation that I would watch. Unbelievable bit of pro wrestling TV, this.
Oh my God.
Yeah, totally agree. I didn't think they
You agree? It was all over the place.
No, I agree with the last thing you said, and absolutely not the first. I didn't think it was going to be this week. I was saying in the preview yesterday, Punk hit quite hard this thing about I'm done with Drew, on with Gunther. And I thought they were going to set up like Triple H likes these, I don't know, like qualify for a tournament in a 4-way final, you get a match against Gunther, whatever. I thought Punk was going to enter that, and they were going to call back to when Punk screwed Drew the night after WrestleMania.
The commentary table touch was very good here, by the way.
The callback with the leg sweep. They've done loads of them, obviously, throughout. And I thought
That's
one was
Punk's attention to detail.
He likes that. And I thought one was going to be, right, I'm going to wrestle on Raw next week, and that's going to be massive. I didn't even think it was going to be in Calgary, which would have been awesome too. But like, I'm going to wrestle on Raw, and I'm going to earn my shot at the world title, and Drew was going to scream there. And that, to me, because I'm with you on that, I thought there's no more heat left. 4 go-to-sleeps, getting carried around the ring, foot on the chest. Like, they've gone that conclusive for a reason, and it's really hard to find the heat for one last match, even though we kind of sensed they were going to do it. And I was impressed on those terms. I was impressed that they were able to just deliver a beatdown. Like, this was the basics at its best. It wasn't even just done well. It was at its very best. I'll continue to defend the bracelet because it doesn't have to be for everybody, but it's for loads of people. Like the
tweeting the girl.
The reactions at SummerSlam when that bracelet got eyed up.
Or realise the significance of it. It represents how much he loves his family.
Like, WWE fans are not thick, and I'm f***ing sick of reading it from on the internet, right? They just like stuff that they're invested in, and this is one of those stories. Like, when Punk drops Drew at SummerSlam because he's seen the bracelet, right? You are perfectly entitled. I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to other people, right? You are absolutely entitled to be like, I think that's kind of stupid, and I think that's kind of lame. But a building full of people go, oh, Jesus, he's just seen the briefcase. Like, there is just as much evidence that this is super successful as a bit, as much as it is, like, irritating and fake feeling to, like, another side of the audience. And last night was, like, another example of that. When he ripped it off and then he tore it, there's gasps. It's not friggin', like, this is me saying this. That's not friggin' Jake putting the Cobra on Randy Savage. Do you know what I mean? But there are gasps in that crowd that you would dare tear that bracelet to bits. It's been effective. It's worked.
Girl who gave him the bracelet, he tweeted, his blood is on your hands. Or something.
Blamed her for it, which again, that's a bit of a return for Drew to the social media side of this, because that's sort of gone off the boil now. They had Jack Perry was the peak, wasn't it? There is no
Bikini Girl's the peak.
Say again?
Bikini Girl's the peak. No one's touching that.
Oh, yeah. Like the social, the battle was done really on social media. And then that one last tweet, that's sort of the human element of it is just, right, Drew's like gone off the deep end. Hell in a Cell really is the only way. And I was more than content with it to finish. At 1-1, I was sort of happy for it to be left there. There was, again, I never think these are coincidences. Now, there's one with Dynamite last week. I can't remember what it was. Moxley being at that show, and you were led to think about that mere hours before he turns up with this new sort of direction. And it happened again yesterday. There was reports, there was whispers that Punk and Gunther is on the table, and then they want it in your head as much as possible that Punk's got his eyes on the prize, only for you to be diverted with this Hell in a Cell. And it could still happen, couldn't it? Like, if Punk wins at Hell in a Cell, he's going to feel in line for a title shot.
The rumours Survivor Series. What a night that's going to be.
He could do it. But I'm wondering if Drew wins, and then what Punk's really got to do is exercise the ultimate demon and win the Rumble. Like, he's got to re-enter it again, kind of that same setting that cost him his year, effectively. And he's got to go again, and you can build whatever angle with Seth you want. You can do whatever you want with Punk in the Rumble.
Rock comes in at 30, wins the whole thing.
Indeed.
Obviously.
That goes without saying.
But yeah, I just love the bones of all of this, man. Like, I think I completely get the criticisms of the SummerSlam match. I've said this all along. I knew, as I was loving it, I knew that people would hate it just in equal measures. But Punk remains the difference. Punk's the, like, Drew was brilliant here, and it does take two to tango, but I think Punk still remains the difference in stuff like this.
I would argue that he needed this night as well. It was starting to feel like, Punk, it's just almost weird watching him be the third most over babyface in WWE, just doing some pretty good stuff on Raw. Man, that was it. He was heroes welcome. Like, he was adored in that building. He felt like it's been a tricky month or two for him. He had that absolute wobbler on Raw when he couldn't get his outline right.
So weird, that.
Couldn't get his outline right. And I mean, it's just like the SummerSlam match was incredibly divisive. He needed a night like that, I would argue.
Well, I can't remember if you said it when you were recapping that. What do you think of the match at PLE?
It covered it in the intros, like sparks of what I wanted, and then it's always in spite. Like, in spite of this, it was really good, or in spite of that, it was really good. I want Hell in a Cell. To be fair, like, I think that match could be really, really, really strong. No, the bracelets, Dunsky. There's no stupid props like the lights. No dumb rule that just gets in the way. You don't want strategy when you're watching these two. You just want to see. You want melodrama, you don't want strategy. And you got those covered across the previous two matches. You just want some hate. I don't want to be the worst, like, you know, so reductive, but I do want to see that, and I think you'll get there in the end with it.
It doesn't feel like there's anything left to get between them, does there? There is going to be a winner and a loser. It's kind of interesting whichever way it goes, and the only way you have that is by putting the man down. Like, he's got to be down and out.
It has sort of become every WWE program ever, that pay-per-view trilogy that they are so enamored with and will be then now forever. But this is really juiced up. Sticking the landing on this big time.
The IC title tournament continued next. It was Dragon Lee, Ilya Dragunov, and Dominic Mysterio. I liked early on when Dominic thought it was a good idea to chop Dragunov, and he just looked at him. But I think then Dragunov suplexed both of them to take us to a break. We come back. Dragunov hits an H-bomb on Dragon Lee, but Dominic frog splashes both of them, gets a 2 count. Dragunov hits a Death Valley driver on Dom onto the apron. Dragon Lee hits him with a shot of his own, but here comes Carlito to take out Dragon Lee. So Priest, his music hits, he comes out to chase after Carlito. Dom tries to attack him and then goes, I've made a huge mistake, and just runs through the crowd, and you suddenly realise, oh my God, we can't just get an Ilya Dragunov versus Dragon Lee one-on-one now. And they had a really fun back-and-forth exchange. Bit of a wobble. I think it was like a 619 counted into a sit-out powerbomb, but they recovered. Dragunov Death Valley drived him into the corner. Dragon Lee got him in a tree of woe and did that top rope stomp. But Dragunov fires back with the Torpedo Moscow. 1, 2, 3. He joins Jey Uso and Pete Dunne as 3 of the 4 men in the Fatal 4-Way.
It was a pretty big and deflating wobble, in truth, because obviously the whole setup is, I'm the right wanker me and I'm gone now. Like, the let the wrestlers wrestle portion cannot really afford to go wrong in the way it briefly did, but it's the strength of the Ilya Dragunov character, I think, that got it over the line ultimately. The fans stuck with it, and this, again, like, I think we've been at pains to put it over when I just see this idea that Dragunov shouldn't have been losing. He's so over. Like, and he's over for all the right reasons as well. People want to see him get hit really hard and hit back harder. And that's Ilya Dragunov's dream, let alone mine as a fan. Like, this was evidence for me of the work that's been done with Dragunov and his work as well, and everything he's contributed to it. Dragon Lee finally getting these moments. I wouldn't get too excited. It's Triple H. He kind of just others luchadors truthfully, and he kind of like, he loves his like groups for sort of easy book tag matches.
It's a very diplomatic way of putting it.
It's tricky to talk about like that just without and out just saying, I think you're a racist, mate. But like, you know, you're trying to sort of find like, well, is there a creative justification for it? Probably not. The Dragunov push, I think, has been like one of the great success stories of this year. In a year full of them, realistically, for WWE, like, and Ilya Dragunov getting over in this time. For being Ilya Dragunov, like, they've not had to make too many compromises. He's over the top, but it's just a WWE version of over the top compared to when he was on the Indies doing over the top.
Yeah. If anything, it's the one time someone's been scaled back.
Yeah.
Dragunov's rubbish progress run. No, this was fun. Some good overlap that extended one thing and made you want the thing. The match within a match is trending in a really, really, really cool direction. Like, Dragon Lee's just so explosive. It did fall apart a little bit, but I didn't care. I forgave them. Forgiven.
Dragunov will be buzzing, getting in there with Pete Dunne as well. He'll just offer his hand.
Yeah.
Please.
Just once. Break him.
What do you think Dragunov thought of the match aside from the
Very entertaining. Good time was had by all.
That. All the fucking time, like middle of the match. What are you doing? What are you doing?
We got a video package on Bronson Reed, who unfortunately, of course, was out due to COVID. The awesome tsunami on the car on Braun Strowman. And Postman Pierce gets asked about Bronson's replacement, and Strowman shows up and says, I want in. He's like, what are you doing here after what he did to you? He lifted up his shirt, and he's covered in kinesio tape, and it's bruised and all that. And says, medical have said I can go if I want. I'm like, okay, if you're good to go, you're in. Strowman thanked him, and he got in the match.
Thoughts on this after the match, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't get the promised title celebration from the new women's tag team champions because this was all wrapped into the number one contenders match. We had Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair come out to watch this match, and then it was Damage Control versus the Unholy Union to determine the new number one contenders. Damage Control getting a glare off with the champs after some stuff on the outside to take us to an early break. We come back. Kairi Sane fights back for Damage Control, hits a DDT, brings in Io Sky, who just looks awesome, comes in, cleans house. And then is the spot that everyone's talking about. So Isla Dawn's been knocked to the outside. You got the tag champs sitting watching this. And Kairi Sane tries to hit that awesome diving elbow of hers onto Isla Dawn. Isla Dawn pulls Bianca Belair in front of her, but thankfully for Kairi Sane, Bianca Belair says, get off me to Isla Dawn, and changes position to basically save Kairi Sane's life. She catches her. She's meant to catch her anyway. They're meant to collide with each other, but Kairi Sane's overshooting and is going to smash her face off the edge of the ring, edge off the commentary table. She does still fly past, and as we saw with the eye and the images that have been shared afterwards, she does still nail that commentary table, but thankfully it could have been a lot worse, let's say.
Could have been a lot better.
Could have been a lot better, obviously, yes.
Pretty bad, dude.
Bumped her face off a table from the post.
Yeah, but if Bianca hadn't caught her, that'd been full force.
She didn't. Anyway, this was horrendous.
It doesn't matter.
Relentless nightmare.
Jade Cargill just punches Kairi Sane right in front of the referee, who's like, I'll allow it.
Ref a match or whatever.
Yeah,
like guys, or whatever.
Fine on her own. But Isla Dawn hits it with a cheap shot, and that allows the Unholy Union to hit him with the double team downward spiral gory bomb for the 1-2-3. And Kairi Sane has a confrontation post-match alongside Io Sky and the champs. And her eyes, she's busted open, her eyes all red. Looked awful, this.
Nightmare. Absolute nightmare, end to end. Triple H left Berlin early, so Cody Rhodes told us, because his oldest daughter was going off to university, I think it was. Something like that, a big family occasion, whatever. I imagine a different institution. But
I suppose actually after what happened on Sunday.
Another real institution.
But Wilborn, if she ever does go to Chase University, one can only hope that by then her dad isn't booking, otherwise she's not going to stand a chance of making it in this business. Because here's the thing, Triple H can't book women. This was an end-to-end nightmare. Yesterday on the preview, Wilborn mentioned that there was a celebration, and Jade and Bianca aren't on Raw very often, so that feels like a bit of a treat. A championship celebration, you say? Well, what might WWE want to do with that just several days after a real piss-poor championship celebration on Dynamite? Do a better job. So straight away you're thinking, right, well, this is just them, like, poking the bear. It's going to be like balloons out the ass. Like, Jade and Bianca already look like stars when they walk in the room in their gym gear, let alone when they come out with the belts and all, like, looking their best. It's going to be class. No, they're doing guest commentary, right? He does not give a shit about any of this, right? So they're doing guest commentary, so it's like, oh, great celebration.
I feel like I see them on chairs a lot.
Yeah, right. Great celebration. Thanks very much.
They are sitting in chairs ringside a lot.
Love it. The match is bland and boring, like they always are on Raw. Because the belts mean nothing.
Io Sky's good.
She is good. Yeah. Damage Control's baby faces is a crucial change because their work is babyface stuff and people just want to cheer it. So that's a good call and it will remain one. You can just tell the difference. So the match is it's trundling along fine because the prize means nothing. So the fans aren't super invested, even though the wrestlers are good. Big deal. And then we get to the inciting incident ultimately. It's horrendous. It's horrendous. So you've got this miscalculation from Kairi Sane, which would be bad anyway. Looks horrifying. You're just worried for her health. You barely had an immersion, but it's been broken by this. As you pointed out, the Bianca Belair Isla Dawn fight is not a fight in the fiction. It's, well, one of us has got to be there, otherwise she's going to die. So that, again, you're out of it completely by then. The Jade Cargill punch is sort of inexcusable. how's that happening? How's the ref just go, oh yeah, like that's a DQ right out of the gate, but then of course that's not the booking. So then you get the finish, which is the Unholy Union getting a rematch. Why? Like, they were beaten handily in a program that they were barely in themselves, Bash at Berlin. Like, Jade and Bianca were doing these promos being like, we have to fight our own weaknesses because the champions are absolutely no bother. We're going to take these titles back. So they've got another shot. Don't know why. And I don't even think you were encouraged to think about that, because the beauty shot at the end was of them with damage control, as if to say, well, next time we'll get you, even though we've stood up before the winners. Just a piss take, an end-to-end piss take. Trash.
Yeah, not much to add there. Echo every single breath. Just the worst. It's like, oh, well, you've got something potentially cool with damage control in the champs, but I have to go through the witches first. Do we?
We don't.
Because not only will it not be good, again, but we've seen it, and there's a better thing there. My God, what a boring map was drawn. A very boring map.
Kofi Kingston meets with Postman Pierce backstage saying, Judgment Day haven't defended their tag titles in 2 months, and I've got a bit of a proposition for you. Don't know what's going on with Odyssey Jones. Talked about that in the news this morning.
What is going on with him?
It looks like it's gone.
Disappeared off the roster page. I hope, as I saw someone speculate, it's so that they can do a big, like, he's part of the New Day now. And Xavier can further be like, what the hell's all this about? But
I think that's tremendously naive.
Shot. It's a long shot, yes.
Might just be shoot gone.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got previous,
Oh, yeah.
so maybe something's resurfaced or he's done it again or whatever.
There's a look between Gunther and Kofi as this all goes on, because Gunther's walking out. And then Priest meets with Rhea, asks if the partner she asked said yes, and she says no. And I thought, oh my God, Damien Priest hasn't got a partner. But then he said, yeet! Yes! Yeet! Buzzing. Gunther comes out. Says on Saturday, Bash in Berlin was the highest grossing gate in an arena show in the history of WWE.
It's been gouged, baby.
The Denver Degenerates have the honor to look at the man responsible.
Denver Degenerates, what are they?
The Denveration X.
Your World Heavyweight Champion, the Ring General Gunther. He says on Saturday he defeated one of the greatest legends of all time. He did say some mean things, and even though he was right, he said them because he wanted the best version of Orton. Now he can stand here and say he's beaten the greatest version of Randy Orton. At the end of the day, it's just another weekend was another chapter in the legacy of the greatest champion in history. Sami Zayn's music hits. Did you see what... I know they had a meeting and stuff before. Did you see what Gunther mouthed?
No.
Sami Zayn's music hits. And he goes, seriously? Like that. It's great. Sammy wants to talk about legacy. Not that one.
Who wants to talk about legacy?
See the video I put on yesterday that I found online. The DiBiase posse.
Oh, yeah.
Got these like 7 people in the car park. They're all here today. That's the same 7 guys.
Tragic.
Trying to make him a baby face. They cut to the kid in the crowd that had won the free front row tickets. And I went back and checked, because of course I did. And Ted DiBiase's having it, and it's blatantly on Superstars. It's not even like on the main show, SmackDown or whatever it was. And he lost. But like, they showed his offensive move in the video.
Oh, brilliant.
He's had front row, he's had a great night, he's seen his favourite wrestler, Ted DiBiase. How'd it finish? Anyway, he's seen his favourite wrestler, Ted DiBiase.
Be very specific when you say DiBiase posse, okay?
There's some like older people at the back. Ted DiBiase in the car park. Oh, it's his son.
It's his son. What a rip-off.
This doesn't feel very fair. I'd say it's unfair. Unfair. More like welfare.
My joke. Sammy's taken a few weeks off.
I think with the prop in the office, we're all doing it.
Thinks about his IC title reign, where he's been, where he's headed. Talks about the IC title being the workhorse title. True greats, the greatest of the greats. Macho Man Randy Savage, Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, HBK, Bret Hart.
Still weird that they're doing this and it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, 20 years of these promos, that's actually the truth.
There's Steamboat, Savage, Bret, shut up, man. Bret, Perfect, Austin Owen, Rock, Triple H. 20 years later, Gunther, whatever. You could say whoever.
Drop your tail, whatever.
They all won the title using it as a stepping stone to the big belt. That's exactly what Gunther did. Now it's time for Sami to do it. He wants the World Heavyweight title. And Gunther says, you're right, Sami. They used the IC title as a stepping stone. And after your reign and all those names, they stepped up and you stepped down. As for the legends you named, your name's not on that list. That's why people like you. You suck, basically. You get knocked down, but you pick yourself up and return to the ring. When things don't go your way, you brush it off. He was impressed that Sami Zayn's challenging him. He saw the fire in his eyes, and he says, if you really want this more than anything else, no. And he leaves. It's the best. Zayn cuts him off as he's leaving, though, saying, why are you backing down from a fight? You know full well that I'm the only person who's beaten you in WWE. UK. NXT UK.
This 5 Series 29.
He says, I'm coming for you and I'll be World Heavyweight Champion.
Didn't see this coming, but I'm pretty intrigued by it. With Gunther, and I'd like to say with what I genuinely believe is like some sort of show Bible or just a character profile of everybody who's winning, who's losing. I would like to think now there's less of like the world, like Sami Zayn's just coming off a pretty big loss. He's had his STEMI C's, but basically the last thing we saw was him at SummerSlam losing. And you cannot just turn up these days and get yourself a title shot. But there are always exceptions to the rule, and the one guy that's beaten Gunther sort of is allowed to call next. Gunther is just allowed to say no, by the way, which he did. But that's, I don't know if I'm being generous there, but that sort of feels like
That's why he's beat him.
Yeah,
Fine.
he's the only guy that's done it. You can't just have a guy that's also lost a program at the weekend.
Better version of failing upwards than you'd see.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that's a low bar or not.
Well, this is it. I was trying to work that out myself.
Of all
really.
people, if you beat Gunther,
Yeah.
of all people to say, oh, well, I beat you before, so I can go again. It's fine for me, and I'm usually the pedant.
I was trying to work out if I was being pedantic or not, but that's the one, isn't it? It's like,
of course, it's allowed.
like beating the Undertaker's streak.
I'll admit it.
And I do love the actual use of the IC to world title because we've seen it in Gunther, and I love Gunther opening him because I don't know if they've done a bit of a switcheroo with Sami and Damian Priest here for what we got in the main event, because there's definitely a tag title match incoming with the Judgment Day versus J+1, definitely, and it's probably going to overlap with the Intercontinental title stuff that Jay's involved in.
Yeah, that feels parked, but
if it's for a 1 month Sami Gunther thing where Gunther effectively
Again,
gets his win back.
and you're getting awesome near fall out of it.
Yeah.
An
Yeah.
awesome near
It's-
fall. Do Brainbuster again, and I will come.
Not bad moving around with the guys for this. For the
Great
second month in a row.
insight. Not bad moving around with the guys.
Second month in a row where Gunther's been like, right, I'm the champion now, and the challenger has come out, and I kind of didn't see it coming, and I want the match because I had exactly that with Orton, and I've potentially got it again with Zayn, and you know that you've got to do a lot of stat padding with Gunther's world title reign, loads. Like he's probably going to get to WrestleMania. At a minimum.
That opens the door for everyone to be like, oh, okay, so you're sort of righting the wrongs of your past, and Dragunov's on this brand.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, it's the belts, like the world title. Triple H cares about the stuff that, like, you got CM Punk coming out there and calling his shot. Drew want to stop him and get back to it. The IC title.
He's good at making titles feel enormous, Triple H.
The IC title tournament is big for whoever gets to win the IC title, and this program reminds you why winning that belt is big again. It's like they're in pretty good health.
Jey Uso gets interviewed by Jackie Redmond when Braun Breaker interrupts. Says, remember your family would never be a member of mine. So, love that.
Is Tony Khan booking this? 'Cause I know what the title match is now.
Yeah, they've leaned in pretty hard on this one, haven't they?
Says, I'll give you one chance to walk away. Drop out of the tournament and keep chasing Dominic's sloppy seconds. What's he mean by that?
Say all that one more time.
Drop out of the tournament and keep chasing Dominic's sloppy seconds.
Yeah, it's sex stuff.
Okay. If you come after my title.
Because they get it wrong. It's like anniversaries with WWE. They just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, he's the sloppy second.
Yeah.
He doesn't have sloppy seconds. He's the sloppy second. Is correct?
Yeah. No, you're right. As you are with anniversaries and birthdays.
It's stirring porridge, isn't it? The other way. Anyway. He says if he comes after Braun in his title, he's going to lose. Jay says, thanks for your advice, rookie.
It's probably fallen out by that point.
Mine.
Hasn't it?
I want to win the tournament, win the title, and beat your ass.
Gonna be there.
Speaking of the IC title tournament, the next match was
It was good. I thought it was main event time.
No. Way away from that. Ludwig Kaiser, Sheamus, and Braun Strowman Sheamus and Kaiser get knocked over by Strowman early on. And then, I've never seen this before, Strowman crashed through the barricade after Kaiser moved. I did like it when Jada Parker did it.
I like the Jada Parker one. Braun, it was funny here because from the moment Braun goes, oh, my bloody body. This is what I want to say, right? I could be wrong here. What I think has probably happened, this was Bronson Reed's to win.
Yes.
And then Braun actually makes his return. He's had 2 weeks to recover from the car thing, and maybe he stops Bronson winning winning the match on the night. And what they'll probably do if Bronson Reed is healthy next week is flip that.
Yes.
So Braun,
you can sort of get rid of people in the match, can't you?
That's it. You're at the exact same point, but they'd have been asking the question. And I like that they're applying this thought, right, but the reason it worked the right way around was because, Braun needed 2 weeks to sell rather than one. How can we make him sell after 1 week? Just got there. He's already half dead before he's got out there, and he kills himself through a barricade. It's just like you never see Braun Strowman walk out to the ring looking like Brett at the Royal Rumble night before. And it's like, oh, so when he goes through the barricade this week, it's like, he is definitely finished.
He looks a little bit stupid there, didn't he? I was like, Braun when he went through. Kind of stupid is, stupid does, I suppose. They say.
Yeah, like the dinosaurs.
Fell out of every stupid tree and hit every stupid branch or something, I'd probably say. 7 minutes, that promo.
Sidgwick.
I know the origin of this alarm now. I turned it off on podcast last week.
Oh, yeah.
Turned it back on. Do you want to know why?
I'm going to guess, usually...
Time to play the game! Time to play the game!
I guess. What's the alarm for, baby?
Parsnips.
What are you talking about?
And sometimes you have an alarm that goes off and it's like you're very well
for like a
Sunday roast.
dinner. Yeah, okay.
And that's normally a Monday, so it doesn't really work, I suppose.
You'd be the type to make your own ice cream for the Grimace Shakes. I want to say something to do with that.
Didn't. Don't have an ice cream maker.
Right.
No, nothing. 3 guesses?
So it's like 12:55.
You were having a problem with the water company and they promised you a call back and you were going to hold them to it by setting the alarm for the callback time.
Usually I am that strict with things, but no.
As you should be, by the way. I agree.
It resolved itself. It was a postcode wide issue.
Yeah, they were.
About which I could do nothing.
Yeah.
So you've had 2 guesses.
Yeah.
You've had 1.
Parsnips.
No other guesses. So you got 2 guesses.
A program you didn't want to miss, like a Sunday afternoon.
Sorry, is this the 1990s? I think I'll just catch it on streaming, please.
Football, though.
Yeah,
live football at 1 o'clock.
On a Monday.
That's looped. Oh, it's Monday. Yes, it's Sunday, yeah.
Yeah. Monday, 12:55.
Could be anything.
If it was 12:55 a.m., I'd get it, because obviously you're 5 minutes before Raw starts.
You need to leave at that time, or you need to leave at 1, but you set an alarm for 12:55. So
Wiggle
you
room.
got to,
Wiggle room, yeah?
Yes, yeah, to get across to something that your son or daughter's got to go to, or your son's going to the gym or something. Obviously, he's jacked.
He is jacked. He needs to get those reps in. No. Got one more guess, Amplet.
It's not transport. It's not food. Well, we haven't said eating out. Maybe we're planning to go for lunch somewhere.
And I forgot what time it was, and I needed the alarm for the time.
Yes.
Well, that's stupid, Amplet.
I was derailed in my thought process by this complete pervert. So, I don't know.
Looks like he's eating out a clock.
Well, the answer. Why did I set my alarm? I'd been to Aldi to get the ingredients for the Grimace Shake.
Right.
Okay. And I got some other bits at the same time. One of which was their incredibly passable own brand cherry Coke.
Yep.
In a large bottle. Now, the problem is, there's a lot of value to this, but the problem is it's room temperature. So what I do is
Flash freeze.
use the old noggin. So I put the big old bottle, a 2 litre jar?
Yeah.
2 litres. Into the freezer, set the alarm for an hour and 15 minutes, comes out cold.
Yeah. But before it turns into kind of like a weird giant ice lolly.
And that's why you need the alarm, because if you forget,
Get yourself an iceberg.
you got yourself an iceberg. So that's this week's. Why did I set that alarm? That's why. I wanted Coke quick.
Yeah. Ludwig
I
Kaiser.
hate room temperature pop.
Oh, no.
I hate it.
That's why I flash freeze.
I'd rather drink water than room temperature pop.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
shoot
how
water.
far you'll go, drinking
shoot water on the
water.
tap.
That's rubbish.
It is
Warm
awful.
pop. Ugh.
It's this like you're so close to a great experience and it's being ruined.
Yeah.
Every sip.
Oh, good. It's like lava in there. It might as well be. It's room temperature, but it feels hot.
Yeah.
Too hot.
Speaking of freezing things, I need to remember what Anne-Louise. What do you call, right? I'm going to try and say this without giving you any tips for how to answer this. What do you call the treats you used to get as a kid? It used to be prior to going in the freezer. It's basically just liquid in a tube.
An ice pop.
An ice pop.
You buy the 10 pence so you could get yourself one from the shop.
Coke ice pops are go-to.
I like the blue one because it's just like, blue. But blue's not food colour. It is today.
Anne-Louise called it a tip top yesterday. That must be a localised thing. The West Midlands.
Sounds like the brand.
Yeah.
But Tip Top
At least I've heard
something
people call it Mr. Freeze before.
Because that's on the side, yeah.
Yeah, it's an ice pop. What's
Ice
your
pop.
connection with Birmingham, by the way? Because you're Scarborough and you're Sunderland.
I was born like 15 minutes away from Birmingham. Lived there for like the first 5 years
You
of
had
my
to
life.
figure it out. And then...
Do a gamble.
Figured it out.
Do
Did a gamble.
all the way to Scarborough.
Gamble to Scarborough.
Coke's exploded in the freezer.
I snoozed it by accident.
Okay.
Right. Let's begin.
So I had 5 minutes playing a game of why did I freeze?
That's
And
why you have to be
unfortunately,
number
as part
one.
of the game, as you know, if you snooze, you lose. So, sorry.
Did you both lost? So
So we're not number one in the charts at the moment. Is this what the Undertaker's doing? He's taking longer on his games.
Don't worry. We'll catch him.
I'm more than happy to be like number two and number three. I definitely wouldn't put a sticker on the front of the podcast.
it's just not respecting the business. Is it?
Nice.
Tell you what, he
Not
also,
paid his dues.
tell you what, he also
Correct.
hasn't got. I know we're in the middle of a match, but otherwise I'll forget now. What he also hasn't got, and sorry to do this to you, Sige, is the
Royal gives me the creeps, man.
sort of springing this on you, but you've had 24 hours for it to test your noggin.
Forgot it.
It's a real teaser, this one. Dadley's, what has a bottom at the top? Picture that. What has a bottom at the top?
Don't say like an upside down can of Coke or something. Because that's an answer.
That is an answer.
It's an answer, you know.
It's a fact.
What has a bottom at the top?
I had no clue when he said this yesterday. And often these raw riddles on account of the websites you get them from. Kind of like
101 brilliant riddles for kids, yeah.
for kids, yeah.
What has the bottom at the top?
Bottom.
Bottom at the top.
South Park family with the asses for faces.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck's parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, tongue's coming up. I got nothing on this one.
I've got nothing, man.
Not a thing.
An upside down can of Coke.
It's good, not right. What
It's
has
right, it's just not what's written down.
what has a bottom at the top? Your legs. That's this week's
Separate things. Separate things. Well, separate but the same. Is it also part of your legs? I once had a mate who had like just a flat arse, and someone once said to him, "Yeah, what do you sit on your back of your legs?" I thought that was funny. I thought you sit on your back of your legs.
It's got a flat ass. Street trash with a flat ass.
Flat ass street trash.
So Ludwig Kaiser runs around the ring, gets a chair chucked.
Well, he doesn't run, does he? He kind
He's-
of does his he telegraphed the life out of the spot.
Yeah.
Strowman hit Sheamus with a choke slam for 2. Sheamus fights back by target in the midsection of Braun. Hits 10 beats on Kaiser. No, sorry, hits 10 beats, then Kaiser catches him with a Finley roll for 2. Kaiser hits an enziguri, but Sheamus hits a bro kick. Looks like he might have the match won until who shows up? We figured it out. Pete Dunne pulls him out of the ring, attacks him with a shillelagh. Of course, no disqualification in a triple threat match.
Perfectly legal, Tessator.
And Strowman hit Kaiser with a power slam for the win, which makes it Strowman versus Jey Uso versus Pete Dunne versus Ilya Dragunov.
This wasn't as good as the other one. But like I say, I think obviously the Braun Strowman story was a make good, and it was the best they could have done with it. Bronson Reed in this thing when, Pete Dunne pulls Sheamus out would have just been a total bastard, wouldn't he? Tsunami's out the ass. We'd have all been still on the Bronson Reed hype train. We will be again next week.
What was the spot we booked? Oh, yeah, I'm coming off the Tron. That was it.
Yeah, we were saying like Wilborn pitched the. You remember there when Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton were fighting up that like side of the stage, like that. But Bronson Reed's up there. Well, down I go. Like every week in a creative meeting, what daft stuff can we do with Bronson Reed?
Off this week? Yeah.
I mean that's where you go last, isn't it?
Oh, that was when Seth was going to return, wasn't he? He was going to lower himself behind him and go, and push him off.
Push him. But that's for the go home.
Yeah.
This was just fine. But I think that's why I understand why Braun Strowman won, at least.
Jumping a bit all over the place. I did like Jackie Redmond just taking her life into her own hands.
Yeah.
She's like, what did you do? Why did you do that to Sheamus? He's like, just telling me it's a message from an old friend and to figure it out, do a gamble. Now I'm off to NXT to smash Trick Williams. And she went, so I tell him it's from Butch. Don't poke the bear.
It's the first time in like the last 5 years where Butch has been more powerful than Bitch in wrestling. Stopped him dead in his tracks. He's getting like, he might break fingers for that.
And then they'll be miraculously recovered by the end of the match.
Still on the microphone.
He hasn't injured anybody in his life.
She just continues the interview with him.
Butch. I haven't heard that name in a long time. That's him reminiscing at the bar.
All right. Okay.
It's a main event time.
No, Priest meets with Jay before this. They say, we've got a past you can't ignore. Jay says, I know what it's like to be you. No friends, lost my family, but I still respect you. And I can't say no to Rhea Ripley. And they laugh. And they say, let's go and kick their ass.
I'm assuming, Sidge, that he was strictly
So
speaking.
tired, man.
Strictly speaking.
No, he wants to have full sex with her.
Right. Not just tag stuff. Tag match stuff.
He wants to have sex with her. I think. Thirsty. It's parched. Oh.
It's thirsty work.
Thirsty work.
So it was, Priest and Jey Uso versus Finn Balor and JD McDonough. Finn and Damian Priest start. Mm-hmm. Well, Finn immediately goes, I'm not doing this. JD, in you go. Jay sent Finn outside. In comes. Was this the bit where JD McDonough came in and was like, what are you going to do? And he just got kicked through the ropes.
Brilliant. Joe Testore's reaction to that was priceless. That was a genuine, oh, God, this can happen, can it? Like,
that's all right around here.
Yeah,
get free food in the back as well.
All right, you.
Priest holds the ropes down and Jay dives onto both of them, sends to a break. Jay's in trouble when we come back, but he fights back. Everyone's yeeting. Hot tag to Priest, who beats up both of them. This maybe was when that kick happened, because that was when Balor hit him with a sling blade. Priest came back with a thrust kick and a clothesline. Balor countered a choke slam into a cradle for 2. JD McDonough hits a cheap shot to allow them to take over, but Jay makes a blind tag. Priest hits a double clothesline and Jay hits a double flying crossbody. Jay super kicks both of them and spears McDonough. Goes up top for the Uso splash, but there's Liv Morgan to crotch him on the ropes. Balor tags in, hits Jay with a sling blade, a drop kick, a coup de grace. McDonough tags in and hit a moonsault, but Priest just breaks up the cover. Morgan jumps up on the apron to complain. Rhea Ripley's music hits. She comes down. She's on the crutches. Liv sort of mocks her, and then Rhea reveals she's not as hurt as she thinks she is. Twats her with the crutch. Morgan manages to escape through the crowd. Ripley chases her away, limping behind her. Jay spears Balor. Priest gives McDonough a razor's edge. And then Jay hit McDonough with an Uso splash for the 1-2-3. Post-match, Jay poses with Priest and Ripley. And we even had a yeet post-show.
That was money, them two having that moment together for the first time, and Rhea being like out of the relationship with Dominic Mysterio and out of the Judgment Day. And like kind of free to enjoy this without it almost being this like thing that was taking place in the background. That was money in the same way that a lot of people describe that one time in the Attitude Era when Steve Austin and Sable crossed paths. And it was like, like males and females typically don't interact, but they're both massive stars at the same time. And it's just that electricity. Her being able to like properly, as stupid as this is a sentence, properly able to engage with the yeet of it all had that same like electricity in the building. Like, it's always been sort of on the sly, and it was like the Judgment Day being a bit suspicious of her. What's this what's this little bond between these two that dates back 2 years at this point, where they've teased it out. They have finally figured out the one thing that Raw's been missing since it lost its red hot 2023 Judgment Day tags, it's red hot 2024 Judgment Day tags. God, I've missed this style of main event. This was just basic stuff, and it was hot as balls for it. It wasn't on a par with Bash at Berlin. That's one of my favorite things this year, realistically. But the fans are just still coming up for every little twist. Can you even call it a twist? Just a little bit of interference, a little interaction here. Liv Morgan getting back out there, and you're waiting for it, but you would wait for the glass to smash as well. Do you know what I mean? That's part of that little moment of anticipation before you know the cool thing you're about to watch is about to happen. It's part of the fun here, and they just continue to build to it and build to it and build to it. They're getting these amazing moments out of a frigging team with JD McDonough in. At this rate, I might want to watch Finn Balor versus Damian Priest after all. And I never thought I would say that. I thought there was this one thing where I was like, I loved the execution of the SummerSlam turn and Priest reaching for him. But I think what I was really getting was Priest is connected as a babyface, and I'm into this connection. That match is boring as ass on paper, and I think I want to watch it because this will sell me on it. The way that they kind of almost came together and didn't will maybe get that over the line.
Here's my take on it. This match is pretty basic but hot. More of a Fed fan thing than a me thing. And it's just where the diverging fortunes of WWE and AEW are at present. Is that conglomeration aside, because they're absolutely goated and they're so much fun to watch, AEW has its so many wrestlers. We take the piss out of it as a bit on this podcast of this wrestler's teaming with that wrestler. And they do it quite often. And it's sort of the conglomeration saves it to a degree because it's just an ultra charming, but they do it a lot. I've not even seen the motion picture, right? But people will know what I'm talking about when I say it. WWE, every 2 or 3 months, just has these Avengers moments where it's this person's teaming with this person after all this time or whatever. And they're better at tending to their individual character arcs and just focusing it and profiling it, and you yield it. You're not getting anything like that from AEW. Maybe when Pac and Cassidy interact in the trios match, but it's just small fry in it compared to WWE. They know what they're bloody doing at the minute, and it continues to make me sick.
Sick to my stomach.
Sick to my stomach, GR.
My big question is...
I'll take the piss out of that dick face.
My
big nose.
Big question is, one of those two crazy kids going to get it together, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, NXT preview coming later on today. WhatCulture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from. But let us know your thoughts on Monday Night Raw in the comments section or an X at WhatCulture WWE. Or actually, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow me at
Brain
Adam Wilborn.
dead, Amy.
Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. But for now, this has been the Raw review. My thanks to Hamflett Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.